Hello everyone. Today we are going to look at two groups within Islam which are often confused with each other, but they are two different distinct groups, namely the Alevites and the Alawites. Let's look at these two groups together, as they are important in Turkey and Syria, but also in other countries. These two countries, Turkey and Syria, are often in the news, like now, as new Islamic rebel forces challenge the Syrian government under the leadership of Bashar al-Assad. If you want to know more about the history and the characteristics of these significant groups, then this video is for you. Stick around, because we are going to explore it all. For more in-depth information, you can check out my book, Ask Your Muslim Friend, where I cover this topic in section 1.6.9. Both of these two groups are of Shia origin, because they only accept Ali as the rightful successor of the Prophet Muhammad. Just to flag up that, according to the Sunnis, Ali is the fourth caliph. Another thing both groups have in common, that they mix and match different beliefs. This is why many orthodox Muslims don't consider Alevites and Alawites to be true Muslims. Syncretism helps different religious ideas, cultures and ways of seeing the world to live side by side and come together. What are the syncretic elements that we can see in these two groups? I'd like to run through some of these syncretic elements now. Alevites say they are Muslims, but they have actually adopted some shamanistic practices from Turkish culture as well as ideas from Christianity. Further, Alevism has a lot in common with Western humanism, especially when it comes to prayer, which is mostly about self-reflection. Alevism is more of a way of life than a religion. Most people who follow it are secular and democratic. Alevite beliefs also include elements of Gnosticism, Neoplatism, Islam, Christianity and other traditions. The Alevites are found in the Near East and the Balkans. They are particularly prominent among Turks and Kurds in Turkey. It is estimated that 20 to 30% of the population has an Alevite background. The most important figure in Alevism is Haji Bektaş Veli, who lived from 1248 to 1337 AD. During the Ottoman Kingdom, from about 1301 to 1921 AD, there were repeated clashes between the Sunnis and the Alevites. They were usually on the losing side. Many Alevites were therefore happy to welcome the secular Republic of Ataturk and later also socialistic ideas. The Alevites believe that God is not distant. They are convinced that God lives in the so-called perfect man. This is someone who sets an example to follow, like Ali, Jesus, Muhammad and others. Eternal laws or religious books are less important, because the perfect man can recognize good and evil on his own. Instead of reciting ritualistic prayers in the mosque, Alevites meet at assemblies called Sem-Evi, where dancing, music and religious stories predominate. Another significant characteristic is that men and women are alike and participate as equals, since gender separation hardly exists in Alevite society. This is very different to Sunni Orthodox groups, but also in fundamental Islamic groups. While Alevites stick to the usual Islamic rules about food, they are fine with people having a little alcohol in moderation. A while ago, for instance, I went to visit one of my Muslim colleagues. He started off by asking if he could serve me a beer. I was surprised and said that I thought he was a Muslim and therefore shouldn't drink alcohol. He went on to tell me that he is an Alevite and doesn't follow all the rules of Islam. On top of that, when he has a visitor like me, who are a Christian, he likes to be accommodating. He also enjoys drinking beer. He also said that his wife is stricter, but when he has a visitor who can drink beer, then this is a good excuse to do it more often. Friends, let's quickly run through the relationships between the Alawites and Christians. In Europe, the Alawites have a great deal of sympathy toward the Christian churches. They agree with the love and appreciate Jesus' mercy towards the poor and the weak. However, though they respect for Jesus, it is difficult for them to accept that he was talking about their own lost state and need for redemption. So it seems that Alawites accept some things about Jesus, but reject other important Christian teachings. It can be tricky for Christians to share the gospel with Alawites, as it includes some challenging concepts like the crucifixion of Jesus and the promise of eternal life. Let's now turn our attention to the Alawites. They are also known as Alawis, or a prominent religious group mainly based in Syria, where they represent about 12% of the population. They are also a significant minority in Turkey and northern Lebanon. They follow a branch of the Twelver school of Shia Islam, although they also incorporate some syncretistic elements. It is thought that the Alawites were founded by Ibn Nusar, which is why they are sometimes also called Nusaris or Ansari. Alawites have kept their beliefs private from outsiders, which has led them to being seen by many as a mysterious group. Sunni Muslim rulers have often persecuted Alawites for their beliefs. During the Ottoman Empire, the Alawites were oppressed, and there were attempts to convert them to Sunni Islam by force. It is worth mentioning that their core belief about God is based on a divine triad or trinity, comprising of three emanations of the one God, which have been manifested in three human persons. First, the essence or meaning manifested in Ari. Secondly, name or veil manifested in Muhammad. Thirdly, God's so-called gate manifested in Salman the Persian. So the Alawites' belief can be summed up in this formula where they say, I turn to the gate, I bow down before the name, and I adore the meaning. Most Alawites believe that they were originally stars that were cast out of heaven through disobedience and must undergo repeated reincarnation before returning to paradise. The Alawis consider Eid al-Ghadir to be the most important feast.
Eid al-Ghadir is the commemoration of Prophet Muhammad's final sermon at Ghadir Khum, which took place on the 18th of Dhu al-Hijjah, 10 AH. Shias celebrate this incident as the basis for their acceptance of Imam Ali's succession to the Prophet.
Dear friends, have you heard about the Zulfikar? The sword is named after Ali and is a significant symbol for the Alawites. The picture shows writings above the sword which says Ali is the representative of Allah. And within the sword, the writing says, no other person is as brave as Ali. No other sword is like the Zulfikar.
If you are enjoying this breakdown of these two Islamic groups, do not forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. We've got more content like this coming your way.
To wrap things up, I'd like to ask you a few questions. First, have you had contacts with Alevites or Alawites? If you could tell us about it, would be wonderful. Secondly, do you think these two groups still identify as Muslims, or would you rather say they are not Muslims? Thirdly, what are your thoughts on their syncretistic beliefs? Fourthly, have you heard about the sword of Ali, the so-called Zulfikar? What do you think about it? Now, if you found this video informative, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content like this. If you have any questions or want to know more about this topic, leave them in the comments and I will be happy to respond. You can also find more detailed information in my book, which you can download for free from our website. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care and God bless you.